is 6:02 on September 30th, 2024. I'd like to convene this meeting of the Select Board of the Town of Hingham. This meeting is being held in person and remotely as an alternate means of public access pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023 and all other applicable laws, temporarily amending certain provisions of the open meeting law. You are hereby advised that this meeting and all communications during this meeting may be recorded by the Town of Hingham in accordance with the open meeting law. If any participant wishes to record this meeting, please notify the chair at the start of the meeting in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 38, Section 20F, so that the chair may inform all other participants of said recording. I do not see anyone else recording. I would ask Tom or Michelle to let me know if you see anyone recording.
No one in the room is recording.
Great. So we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I would ask Bill Ramsey to lead us.
For those willing and able, please stand and face the flag of our nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of America
and to the
republic for which it stands,
one
one nation,
under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
and justice for all. Okay, next item on our agenda is approval of minutes. We have the minutes from August 27th, 2024, and I'm prepared to proceed. Liz, are you?
Yes.
And Bill?
I'm ready.
Then I'll take a motion.
I make a motion to approve the minutes dated August 27th, 2024.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Bill?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. And I realize I neglected to note for the record that participating in the meeting this evening are Bill Ramsey, Liz Klein, and myself, Joe Fisher, participating remotely. At this point, I would like to turn and begin a tribute to our former police chief, Borowski. He was not only the chief of the Hingham Police, he was a Korean War veteran. He joined the Marines during the Korean War. He was a valued member of our community and truly a real patriot. So I'd like to begin by asking Bill Ramsey to make some comments.
Thank you, Joe. Hoika Mingo Borowski was born in Berlin, Germany on September 5th, 1935. After the end of World War II, he immigrated to the United States, joining the Marine Corps during the Korean War. He became a naturalized citizen in Seoul, South Korea in 1952. Shortly thereafter, he would end up settling in Massachusetts. He was a Marine reservist at South Weymouth Naval Air Station and attained the rank of Master Gunnery Sergeant, or serving as the Base Sergeant Major. I would note that that is one of the Marine Corps' highest ranks. In addition to his service in Korea, he also served in Vietnam and Operation Desert Storm, making him a veteran of 3 wars. He later joined the Hingham Police Department, working his way up through the ranks from patrolman to sergeant to lieutenant. In 1983, he was appointed the chief of police. He would also serve as the chief until his retirement in 2000. Although I knew him during his time as chief, he and I became friends after he retired. Not many people know this, but he spent countless hours serving veterans with the employer support of the Guard and Reserve. In that capacity, he assisted mobilized and deployed service members and their families. I had the distinct pleasure of working with him on several cases involving the USERRA law. He lived his life true to the values his parents instilled in him and the character and honor he learned from wearing the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor of the United States Marine Corps. He is considered by members of the Hingham Police Department to be one of the best chiefs that has ever held that position and will be remembered by those who knew him as a dear and loyal friend. I would lastly add that he was the chief who hired my brother Rob almost 31 years ago. And I believe that Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, but the town flags will be lowered in his honor this week during his interment.
That's right. The date of interment is Thursday, and the town flags at the fire departments and town hall will be lowered to half-mast.
Thank you.
Bill, thank you. Liz, did you want to add anything?
Thank you, Bill, for sharing that. Certainly grateful for the chief's service, many years of service to not just our community, but our country, and thinking of his family at this time. Thank you.
Yes. And I understand we have in the room Paul Healy, who is not only a former member of the Select Board, but also a former member of the Police Department. So I would invite Paul to address the group if he would like to.
Thanks, Joe. I had the privilege and honor of working under Chief Borowski, both when he was a lieutenant and when he was a chief. I worked the midnight to 8 shift, and I brought this picture along. I don't look like this anymore, but that was in the salad days of my youth. I always found the chief, or the lieutenant, and later chief, to be incredibly dedicated to the mission of the Hingham Police Department. And he was a true Marine. I really just found that to be so inspiring, because his discipline and dedication to duty as a Marine translated into superb leadership as a police officer, as a lieutenant, and later when he became chief. He became chief in a very tumultuous period of the department, I have to tell you. And he settled us down. He got us on the right path, and I always liked him. I always respected him. And I would say that the vast majority of the people that worked for him held him in high regard. They were fond of him, enjoyed him. He was committed to the community as well as the country, and he was a great example for the younger officers. And definitely a hard act to follow. And in his retirement, I'd see him at the different ceremonies at Memorial Day and Veterans Day here at Town Hall. And I always made a point to go over and say hi to him. And he shared the experience of how he became a naturalized citizen while he was a young Marine in Seoul. And it was very moving, because if you knew his story, he didn't come into this country the easy way, let me tell you. And he is a true patriot. And like I say, that's a hard act to follow. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Is there anyone else present who would like to share some comments? I will share that I did speak with our current police chief, David Jones, who told me that he was hired by Chief Borowski, and he clearly respects his judgments in hiring, but he really respects, and the entire police department respects and misses the presence of Chief Borowski. So I'll just like to pause for a few seconds of silence. Thank you. I'd like to move on to the next item on our agenda, which is recognition of Indigenous Peoples Day. And we have a proclamation. And what I would like to do, if my fellow select board members will indulge me, we have the proclamation. I would ask Bill Ramsey to read the first two paragraphs, Liz Klein to read the second two, and I will chime in with the now, therefore, at the end.
As President Biden proclaimed on Indigenous Peoples Day in October of last year, since time immemorial, American Indians, Alaska Natives, and Native Hawaiians have built vibrant and diverse cultures, safeguarding land, language, spirit, knowledge, and tradition across the generations. On Indigenous Peoples Day, our nation celebrates the invaluable contributions and resilience of Indigenous peoples, recognizes their inherent sovereignty, and commits to honoring the federal government's trust and treaty obligations to tribal nations. Our country was conceived on a promise of equality and opportunity for all people, a promise that, despite the extraordinary progress we have made through the years, we have never fully lived up to. That is especially true when it comes to upholding the rights and dignity of Indigenous people who were here long before colonization of the Americas began. For generations, federal policies systemically sought to assimilate and displace Native people and eradicate Native cultures. Today, we recognize Indigenous peoples' resilience and strength, as well as the immeasurable positive impact that they have made on every aspect of American society.
The contributions that Indigenous peoples have made throughout history in public service, entrepreneurship, scholarship, the arts, and countless other fields are integral to our nation, our culture, and our society. Indigenous peoples have served and continue to serve in the United States Armed Forces with distinction and honor at one of the highest rates of any group, defending our security every day. Today, we acknowledge the significant sacrifices made by Native peoples to this country and recognize their many ongoing contributions to our nation. On Indigenous Peoples Day, we honor America's first inhabitants and the tribal nations that continue to thrive today. We encourage everyone to celebrate and recognize the many Indigenous communities and cultures that make up our great country.
So before I read the concluding paragraph, I would like to entertain a motion to make the proclamation, and then I will confirm with the concluding paragraph.
I will make a motion to proclaim Monday, October 14th, 2024 as an Indigenous Peoples Day in the town of Hingham.
Second.
Roll call vote. Liz?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Now therefore, we, the Select Board of the Town of Hingham, do hereby proclaim October 14th, 2024 as Indigenous Peoples Day. We call upon the people of Hingham to observe this day with appropriate ceremonies and activities. Voted this 30th day of September 2024, Joseph M. Fisher, Chair, William C. Ramsey, and Elizabeth F. Klein. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is to consider approval of the application for a common victualler license submitted by Sweet Green, 96 Derby Street, Suite 330A. And I believe we have Patrick Dowd on the line.
Fellow members of the Select Board, can you hear and see me okay?
Now I can.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me. My name is Patrick Dowd. I am the licensing manager at Sweet Green, and I'm here to represent Sweet Green as the Select Board considers our application for a common victualler license with no alcohol, to be specific, for this location at 96 Derby Street, Suite 330A. I'm happy to answer any questions or provide any information that the Select Board would like to ask or to know about this proposed application.
Would you mind summarizing what you expect the parking requirements to be for this business?
Yeah, so this location is in a shopping center. So we share parking with our other tenants as dictated by our landlord. We ask our employees to park, not near the front of our store, but there is common parking amongst all of the tenants that the landlord allocates to us. There does seem to be substantial parking. When I worked on the Shake Shack application a number of years ago when I worked for them, it ended up not being an issue, but I would be happy to provide additional information if that does not satisfy your question.
Tom, do you know if the Select Board or the Planning Office has reviewed and confirmed that there's adequate parking for this proposed use?
Yeah, so their use is approved as part of the permit granted by the planning board
Sure.
for Derby Street. So it's the entirety of the Derby Street project.
And this is not creating an additional undue burden? That would
No, it is
really
not.
be right. Okay, that's the question. Okay. Liz, any questions?
I don't have any questions on the application. Did Sharon have any concerns? I'm assuming it's complete and everything's in order.
Yep, everything is complete and in order, and all I keep hearing from Sharon is she's dying to get down there for lunch, so.
We have been anxiously waiting this to open, so
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't have any questions.
Wonderful.
Mr. Ramsey?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, and I think Liz is right. I've heard from other residents who are anxiously looking forward to the opening. Are there any members of the public with comments or questions on this application? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion.
I make a motion to approve the issuance of a common victualler license to Sweet Green Boston LLC, doing business as Sweet Green, located at 96 Derby Street, Suite 330A, Hingham, in accordance with the application for common victualler license filed with the town of Hingham on September 3rd, 2024.
Second.
Roll call vote. Liz?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. You are approved. Looking forward to your opening at Derby Street Shops.
Thank you very much, Select Board. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Bye-bye.
Next item on our agenda is to consider the issuance of a special one-day wine and malt beverages license to Untold Brewing LLC for Booze and Brews to be held at the Green at Derby Street Shops on October 25th, 2024, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. And is Matt Elder on the line?
Hi, this is Matt Elder. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. So please describe what you're proposing.
Yes, so this is the Booze and Brews event at Derby Street Shops. This would be our 4th annual time doing this event. It's supposed to be held on Friday, October 25th, 4 to 7 p.m. on the Green, which is that area between REI and Kohl's. It's where we've operated many beer gardens in the past.
Yes.
For safety, WS, I believe, will have a police detail there because there will be about, expect 200, maybe up to, I think it's going to be capped at 300 people for the event. So there will be a security presence available for that. We've done this event in the past with great success. It's been very well received. So we look forward to the same success this year, following the kind of same blueprint that we've done in the past. But happy to answer any questions you might have.
Could you, I do see that there's a note in the record from the chief of police. Would you just let us know what your detail commitment is with the police department?
Yes, WS will be hiring a police detail to be there throughout the event.
So I believe that's one detail officer.
Yes.
Tom, did we have any other comments from the police department?
I did not.
Okay, and so this, I believe this is the Friday before Halloween. Did I get
Correct.
that right? Yes, okay. Liz, any questions?
Just a question about the alternate date. Is the 26th the rain date?
It is.
Okay.
Hopefully we won't need it.
Yes, hopefully you won't need it, but we should add that to the vote language,
We should.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have any other questions about the application, and I know this has been a successful event in the past, so thank you.
Yes. Bill?
No questions, Matt. Good luck. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Thank you. Same. Thanks.
Any member of the public with comments or questions? Seeing none, I am prepared to accept the motion modified as Liz suggested to include the rain date of October 26th. So is there anyone prepared to make a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the issuance of a special one-day wine and malt beverages license to Untold Brewing LLC for Booze and Brews to be held at the Green at Derby Street Shops on October 24th, 2024, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., with an alternate date of October 26th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Second.
Roll call vote. Liz?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. You are approved. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Next item on our agenda is to consider signing the warrant for the 2024 state election to be held on November 5th, 2024. Michelle, do you want to walk us through this, please?
Sure. So Town Clerk Carol Favely is not feeling well tonight, so that's why she's not here. But this is a warrant that the state sends to the town for every state and local election. Carol enters all the Hingham-specific information, but the rest comes from the state, and she asks the select board to approve it. And then it will be served by the constable on the clerk's office and posted in the clerk's office on the website. It's just a standard procedure we need to follow for every election.
And am I correct that the language for each of the questions on the ballot, that is the language that's approved by the state?
That's correct.
Okay, Liz, any questions?
No questions.
And Bill?
No questions.
Any member of the public with questions? Seeing none, I am prepared to accept a motion.
I make a motion to sign the warrant for the 2024 state election on November 5th, 2024.
Second.
Roll call vote. Liz?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. It is approved. Thank you. Okay. Next item on our agenda, we originally were going to consider an agreement with Harbor Networks LLC. That will be continued to our next meeting, as will the proposed agreement for a brush rapid attack truck. Both those two items, items 9 and 10, are on our agenda, will be continued to our next meeting. So we move on to item 11, which is to consider authorizing submission of Community Preservation Committee final applications for projects on town property. This would be for the Tranquility Grove project and the pickleboard courts at the Carlson complex. So at a prior meeting, we authorized the filing of those applications on a preliminary basis. We neglected at the time to say that after assuming that they satisfied the preliminary application requirements, that they could then proceed with a complete application. So this is simply to pick up where we left off last time. We have no additional information on either project, and our vote this evening does not reflect our agreement on the merits. It simply is a statement that both of those projects can proceed with the CPC application process, and I believe that the deadline for filing those complete applications is next Tuesday, October 8th. Is there any discussion, Bill?
No discussion. Obviously, we're supportive of both. I'm speaking for myself. I'm supportive of both articles as the board voted accordingly at the last time this was taken up.
And Liz?
No questions.
Any member of the public with questions? Seeing none, I am prepared to accept a motion on item number 11.
I will make a motion to authorize the Historical Commission and/or Conservation Commission to submit a final Community Preservation Committee application for the Tranquility Grove project at the Burns Memorial Conservation Area.
Second.
Roll call vote. Liz?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. I'll take the next vote.
I'll make a motion to authorize the Recreation Commission to submit a final Community Preservation Committee application for the construction of pickleball courts at the Carlson Fields Complex.
Second.
Roll call vote. Bill?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Approved. And so, Sharon, should we make sure that CPC is informed that these were approved at our meeting this evening?
Yes, we will. I note that Julie Straley is on the meeting tonight, so she's aware, but we'll make sure we send a note
Great.
tomorrow.
Okay. Next, we have a presentation by Arthur Robert on the Economic Development Strategic Plan.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to present tonight. What I'm hoping to do here is just provide a follow-on to the brief conversation we had about this topic when this board considered and approved a consultant-supported contract to help us make this initiative come together. So my goals here are just to touch on where does this project come from, what it responds to, our purpose, the deliverables, and our process, how we're going to make it real.
Yeah, so there's no vote on this item this evening.
There is no vote. That is correct.
Great. Okay, we're ready. And I assume you've got the presentation.
Yes, I do.
The PowerPoint. Okay, great.
Let's make it full size for everyone. All right. This particular project has a firm foundation here in Hingham, and it reflects momentum that is built over time, recognizing Hingham's unique attributes as well as the town's challenges. Looking back at the town's master plan, dating to 2021, the planning process identified a number of goals, two of which are really important. First and foremost, goal one in the plan is to honor the town's character, but also includes goal number 5, which is to support a vibrant and resilient economy. Basically looking for opportunities to diversify the town's tax base, which is now about 90% residential. In 2022, the town administrator appointed Sustainable Budget Task Force took a very close look at the town's finances. And while I cannot speak to the depth as well as the breadth of the effort led by Assistant Town Administrator Michelle Monsegur on our team, I can point to 2 findings that are certainly relevant here. And first, fundamentally, the task force found that over the long term, expenses are growing faster than revenue here in Hingham. And when looking at options to help bridge that gap, economic development was found to offer long-term, high-potential opportunity for new growth. And as a follow-on to that, this year, the Select Board identified promoting economic development as one of its goals. So what is this all about, or in what kind of environment does Hingham lie? And certainly since COVID struck several years ago, we've seen some accelerating changes in the marketplace that we have to figure out, A, how to understand, and B, how to leverage. And the slide just captures a few of those dynamics. I think the fact that we've got a hybrid meeting going tonight demonstrates that there's an increased ability to work remotely, and that certainly affects the dominance of place. If you can work from anywhere, why do you have to be in any one specific space? And that affects the opportunities for commercial development. There's a need for less space, and the space that is needed, companies increasingly look for that space to be of top quality, current Class A office space, but also located in the right place for the right talent to take advantage of what you might call an ecosystem. A good example regionally is EMD Serono. Earlier this year, this company that's based in Rockland, which is on a parcel that's shared with Hingham, announced their plans to leave the South Shore. And their move decision reflected 2 parts. Of their 400 employees, they directed 200 to a smaller footprint in Boston Seaport District, so they could be at ground zero for the life sciences sector here in Massachusetts. And the remaining 200, they sent to work from home. That's the kind of challenge that Hingham and the South Shore faces going forward. And some of these other issues listed on the slide are familiar. Lack of water, lack of wastewater, inadequate road infrastructure. We all know about the high cost of housing. And when you talk to business people, I hear constantly about how there's a gap between what skills are needed and what skills are available in the local workforce. And last but not least, when you think about South Hingham, for us, that includes land as well as north of Route 3 as well as south of Route 3. That land immediately abuts Rockland land on the Route 228 corridor. These adjacent parcels together have tremendous development potential, and it reflects shared interest between Hingham, between Rockland, and the property owners that hold privately held land. So what do we seek to accomplish? Basically 2 things. First and foremost, get to the end where Hingham is encouraging low impact, high value economic development, but doing so in 3 areas where we already want economic development and growth. Hingham Square, the shipyard and Route 3A corridor, as well as South Hingham, which I spoke to before. Each of these areas are different, and they really call for different approaches. No community can thrive on a one-size-fit-all approach. So going forward, we're looking for a way to find the right path forward for each commercial district. So the deliverables of this effort include getting to clarity and developing some consensus around what exactly is Hingham's competitive position. Given the changes in the marketplace, given the attributes that make Hingham unique and special, what can we reasonably pursue going forward? What are realistic opportunities for Hingham to pursue? And for each of those development districts, the square, the shipyard, as well as South Hingham, coming up with implementation plans that can attract the right type of investment to the right location. Those roadmaps could include different elements depending on what makes sense for each district, zoning and regulatory changes, prioritizing infrastructure improvements, marketing, or perhaps even targeted business development. What we'll have at the end are roadmaps that will promote economic development while protecting the town's character. So what's the process behind all this? As you heard earlier, through a competitive RFP process conducted in collaboration with the town of Rockland, the Hingham Downtown Association, and the HDIC, we identified a company called Camoin Associates, a leading economic development consulting firm, to help us move forward. The project cost is in the $75,000 range, supported by Hingham ARPA funds, with contributions from the town of Rockland, as well as private partnerships. We think we've built the right kind of collaboration to define a consensus and define a realistic path forward in each commercial district. I know this slide is a little busy and includes a number of points, but it's all about an opportunity for us to work with our consulting team, to engage with the business community, to engage with residents here in Hingham, to make the best use of available data, to take advantage of the opportunity to conduct a number of one-on-one interviews, and ultimately put that all together in terms of options for the community to consider for each commercial district. By the time we're done with this process at the end of in December, we will have these roadmaps for each district that will help us plot a path forward. Now, I touched on community engagement. I just wanted to reinforce it, or maybe just add a little bit more detail. For the community, our first open house in this process is set for October 28th at South Elementary School from 7 to 8:30 p.m. We're holding this as an open house kind of event where folks can drop in as their schedule permits. You don't have to be there right at 7 to participate and contribute, but you'll have the opportunity to engage individually or maybe in small groups with our consulting team as well as members of town staff. We'll be following that up with an online survey opportunity for those who might not be able to participate. And the business outreach piece is important as well. On Wednesday morning, we have the opportunity to have a very focused discussion with approximately 15 businesses located in different parts of Hingham to really get into their perceptions of the opportunities and challenges of working here. And in parallel, our consulting team will be conducting approximately 10 interviews in depth with our business leaders to really dig into some of those questions. And I just want to restate the importance of collaboration here. This is just not the town, it's the town of Hingham in partnership with other players. The town of Rockland, Discover Hingham has been a tremendous partner, as well as the South Shore Chamber, both of whom have helped us recruit businesses for our business event on Wednesday. I'll stop there, but look forward to any questions you may have.
Great. Art, I really appreciate the work and the in-depth approach that you're taking. This is a serious commitment on behalf of the town, and I really do appreciate your leading it. I'm just going to lead off with one question. With respect to the open house on October 28th, how will that be publicized?
Joe, we have several channels we intend to use. Certainly, first and foremost, the town's website and our news flash functions are important. We'll also follow up with a Facebook campaign to make sure that information gets out to our many followers. We certainly look forward to opportunities to collaborate with the Hingham Anchor. And in addition to all of that, several of us who are involved have our own lists of people that we know through past contacts have expressed different interests and concerns here in Hingham as well as in Rockland, and we'll be reaching out to those folks individually.
Great, thank you. Liz, I'll turn this over to you.
Great, thanks, Joe. Thank you, Art. to echo Joe's comments, this is certainly a priority for us and appreciate you leading this effort. Just more on the economic development open house, the direct outreach that you were referencing, is that to business leaders in town or citizens? Who's actually being invited?
We're focusing on residents for the open house.
Okay. Okay, and then how were the businesses identified to participate in the site visit on October 2nd?
Through the Hingham Downtown Association, we asked them to reach out to all of their members. The South Shore Chamber reached out to their Hingham-based members, and I certainly reached out individually to property owners and other businesses that I've engaged with personally over time.
Okay, great. And those, okay, and then the interviews, that data will, what happens next with all of that information?
Well, we're doing a lot of what you could call qualitative research through this community engagement. We're going to leaven that work with quantitative analysis, looking at not just the data that we have that describes our economy, the regional economy, the state economy, and the national economy, but use some methods that will help us clearly see how our competitive position has evolved as a community. And from there, combining the two, we should be able to develop a number of options for different parts of town. We don't, as I said before, an approach to economic development for the square, will not match what would make sense for the shipyard or for South Hingham. But we'll be taking some of those options back to the community in a second public outreach session in November as part of our approach to getting feedback and getting to a realistic and sustainable plan.
Okay, excellent. So if residents, citizens want to share their ideas, they should attend the open house or they will be able to access the online survey? Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And what is can you remind us of the timeline for the final report?
We're looking to bring the final report for your consideration forward in December.
December. Okay, great. Thank you.
Just before I turn it over to Bill, just following up on Liz's question, is there a dedicated email that residents or businesses can use now to submit their suggestions?
Joe, at this time, we don't have a dedicated email, but we can certainly create one and be sure that everybody's is aware of that as an option.
That would be great, because I think sometimes just having a central place where people know they can send a message can be helpful. Bill?
Thank you, Art, for getting this off the ground. I'm excited about this. I think it's something that we as a board have talked about for a little bit, so it's great to see it moving forward. I think the plan you put in place is a great one. I know you've done a ton of work on this, and I want to just thank you for all you're doing. I just ask if you'd keep us updated, either formally through presentations or informally through your reports as we move forward, so we can get a good sense of the progress and see if we need to adjust fire on anything in terms of another session or more outreach. But yeah, thrilled with this moving forward and really appreciate all you've done, Art. I know you've done put a lot of work into it, so thank you.
Joe, do you mind
Great.
if I
Are
just comment real quick?
Yeah. Tom, that'd be great.
So I just want to put a finer point for the public to understand the importance of what Art's project means to the town. Back in fiscal 2023, I believe it was last year or 2 years ago now, in April, we held a town meeting where we had to have an operational tax override in order to support the level of service that Hingham has become accustomed to. And I fear, as your town administrator, that is going to become a too regular occurrence. Hopefully not annually, but it's going to become a too regular occurrence because of inflation and other factors. And if we want to maintain the level of services, again, that the public has become accustomed to and enjoys, we're going to have to find new revenue. And that new revenue, the best option to get it is exactly what Art is pursuing right now. And that means an increased commercial growth. It means appropriate residential growth as needed. But I think Art and the team he's put together has been doing a great job And I just wanted to underscore why this matters to everybody that is going to hear about it over the next month. So, thank you.
Tom, thank you. And I would just add to that, that this is not a immediate solution, that it takes time. And it takes the legwork that Art and others have put in to make this happen. So again, I appreciate all your work, Tom and the others who've been working on this. Are there any other members, and are there any members of the public with comments or questions? I am seeing none. So at this point, we typically consider appointments or reappointments, and I am not aware of any scheduled for tonight's vote. Bill or Liz, are you?
No.
None, thank
Okay.
you.
So then I'll turn to public comment. If there are members of the public who would like to comment on items not on the agenda, this is your time.
Yeah, come on up.
Here.
Joe, we do have somebody here.
So yeah, come
Okay.
up to the podium.
I can't see who that is.
Joe can't
so,
see you, so we'll just ask you to introduce yourself, name and
Name and
address.
My name's Steve Hauk. I live at 14 Strawberry Hill Street in Dover, Mass. And I'm here with two colleagues of mine from the Boston Pickle Club. This is Mike Wilmot and Lindsay Ford. And you guys live where in Hingham?
4 Malcolm Street in Grove Point.
And 3 Forest Lane in Hingham.
And we are here just simply to introduce basically the second facility, the Boston Pickle Club, in 77 Accord Park in Norwell. We're building a 10 indoor court facility with 28,000 square feet that we've gone through the zoning process with Norwell to convert it from commercial to recreational use. We're in the middle of a construction project right now, building the 10 courts. A little bit about the Boston Pickle Club. Our aim and vision is to build between 8 and 10 Boston Pickle Club facilities up and down the 95 corridor of Boston, all indoor premier courts, highest quality surfaces, lights, ceiling clearance. And I started the business with two elite racket professionals, a guy by the name of Johan Durant and Stephen Mitchell, who are national champions in platform tennis. They're two South African guys, and they are endeavoring to become top pickleball players in the country. So very much, instruction is very much part of our brand. Our facility is going to be open to the public. It's going to, the beautiful thing about pickleball is the inclusive nature of it. It's pickleball, no matter your skill level, no matter your age, no matter your gender, pickleball has a place for you. It's a very social game. Our facility, the Boston Pickle Club in Norwell, is more focused on health and fitness than it is maybe other pickle concepts you've heard of around the country, which are more nightclub, bar, restaurant. Ours is really a membership-based, but again, open to the public, and really meant to be build a community on the South Shore. This is going to be the anchor of our South Shore kind of offering. And as we build, our first facility is in Hyde Park. We're looking at a third facility in Somerville. And I'm excited to be here and just tell you anything about it, and ask if you have any questions.
So this, I appreciate your sharing. This is not an opportunity for members of the select board to ask questions. But I would encourage you to send information about this to the select board office, and those who are interested in pickleball, we may be able to disseminate that. So I do appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else with comments or questions?
Would the select board be willing to accept a Boston Pickle Club paddle?
So I think that's a generous offer, and I'd ask you to coordinate with our town administrator on that. That's not something we would take up at a public meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
And there are a good number of pickleball fans in the town, so appreciate your spreading the news. Is there anyone else? So then we will move on to town administrator and select board reports. I will begin with Arthur Robert.
Nothing more this evening. Thank you.
Yeah, you gave a great presentation, so thank you. Michelle?
Sure, just one. Our town clerk, Carol Falvey, wanted people to know that their office received ballots from the state Thursday afternoon for folks who have submitted applications to vote early by mail. So the first batch of about 1,200 ballots were mailed out to residents who've made those requests today, and more will come every day this week. If people are interested in voting early by mail, you can fill out an application online, and the clerk's office will mail you your ballot. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom Mayo?
I actually have a few things I just wanted to note. One was a couple of weekends ago, the town hosted a suicide awareness walk that I know, I think Liz, you might have been there. Bill, I'm not sure if you were able to go. Joe, I wasn't able to be there.
I was out of state, yes.
But Michelle was there. My understanding is that they raised over $80,000, and when the norm on these walks is $20,000. So Hingham came out to support this cause, which I was very proud of. That's one note. Second, we are holding our inaugural Local Government Academy class tomorrow night with our selected first rounders, and we'll go through that tomorrow, then we'll see how it goes. That'll last a couple of months, and then this hopefully will become an annual event. Look forward to engaging with as many members of the public during my career as possible through this event, so that's going to be fun. And lastly, I just wanted to note that I had the pleasure of attending an annual local town manager association conference this past week, and a lot of very interesting ideas being run through our local
So congratulations, Joe, to you and your family on the birth of your first grandchild. That's wonderful. I also note that on Saturday, I had the pleasure of attending the Virginia Day lecture series at Old Ship Church, where Ken Burns was the featured speaker. Jim Conroy moderated the event. He did a wonderful job, as he has done every year, moderating these events. But it was a great community event. Virginia's Sister Marianne does it every year. It's a wonderful way to honor Virginia, who was a wonderful member of our community. And I know a lot of people were there. It was a great event, and it was interesting to learn from Ken Burns.
Thank you, Bill. I was also there. It was an amazing event. The Old Ship Church was packed, and I think everyone in attendance learned something. So thanks for those who put that on. Just two things I want to discuss. First, the Harbor Development Committee has been working in coordination with the town to help celebrate the 2025 Independence Day celebration. And they are working to achieve a 350 drone light show that is tentatively scheduled for July 2nd, 2025. The Harbor Development Committee will be making further announcements about private funding to support their work. And quite frankly, the detailed work that's going to be required to make this event a success. And secondly, there was a meeting last week of both private residents as well as town personnel to review the potential for identifying routes for a Hingham Greenway across the town to link the town's open space and state and trustee open spaces, and perhaps to coordinate with Norwell and Cohasset. I will be working with the town administrator to create a task force that will lead this study. And with that, I again thank my fellow select board members for their good wishes on my grandson. And at this point, I am prepared to take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call vote. Liz?
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. We are adjourned. Thank you.